What is going on, Patriots fans, and welcome back to Mock Draft Monday. Today, we got a good one. Haven't talked about this player yet in the first round, and then a couple of repeats in the second, third, and fourth that I have talked about before. Guys that I'm interested, obviously, honing in on some realistic targets that I think the Patriots should be getting interested in, and I would love to see them draft. So it's still some variety, but it's also a scenario we haven't. So I'm excited to hear guys' thoughts. Make sure you're subscribed, like the video, and comment down below your thoughts on this mock draft. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Are you tired of trying to find the best deals on tickets to your favorite events, concert, and games? Then SeatGeek is the answer. With over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. You can find the best deals thanks to their app and website showing you what prices are good and bad. And now you can use code PATRIOTSDRIVE for $20 off your purchase. So go ahead and get those tickets you've been eyeing because you don't want to miss out. Okay, so this is going to be a 5-round mock draft. It does include a trade. Trading down would be the best case scenario for the Patriots if Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter are off the board. I also think it's one of the most unlikely things because I just don't know who would want to trade up to the 4th overall pick for a quarterback if that's one that's still up there. Maybe the Saints would want to. The Raiders, I guess, might want to take one. The Jets obviously could. The trade down one is hard for me, thinking how realistic it is in a little bit of a weaker class, especially at the top end of the board. So for this mock draft, I'm going to have the Patriots trading down with the Carolina Panthers. They're going to get their first and their second and a future second. The Panthers are going to move up. With that, the Patriots are going to target a pass catcher, but not a receiver. They are going to take Tyler Warren, a tight end out of Penn State. This is what I'm interested to hear from you guys. He's 6'5.5", 256 pounds. He had a 93.4 receiving grade in college football this year. Obviously, Penn State had a great year also. He was phenomenal. He had 1,230 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns. People forget how good he was because of Harold Fannin. Everyone's like, oh, he had 1,500 plus yards and stuff. Tyler Warren was just as good as Harold Fannin, and he did it at the top level of competition. He made the playoffs with Penn State. He led their team in receiving yards by over 500. The next closest receiver to him had like 700 and something yards, and he had 1,230. So he was the focal point of the Penn State passing attack. This dude's got extremely strong hands. He only had 3 drops all year. He's a big time athlete. He was a former quarterback. So he has those movement skills, big bodied guy. He had 963 yards after the catch, which proves he's a great threat to give you something after the catch, whether it's a broken tackle because he's on a safety, whether he's out running a linebacker, whatever it is, he gives you yak ability. He's a physical, good run blocker, unlike some guys in this class. And then he's a bigger frame and bigger tight end. I mean, 6'5.5" and 256 pounds is a NFL ready body. It's one of those guys that you'd feel comfortable in both the pass game and the run game. He's going to carve out a role. Now, some people are going to say, why would we take Tyler Warren? We just re-signed Austin Hooper to a 1-year deal and we have Hunter Henry. I get it. I don't think those guys are long-term options. And in my opinion, the Patriots need pass catchers. They need a receiver, but they need pass catchers. If you can take a guy like Tyler Warren, who in my opinion is the 3rd best pass catcher in this class, why the heck wouldn't you? Austin Hooper's only got 1 more year, but you're not going to not take Tyler Warren because you re-signed Austin Hooper to a 1-year deal. And Hunter Henry has an opportunity to be cut after this year. And it's not even cut. It's just he has an out after 2 years. So he could be here through this year. He could be here through next season. But still, again, those 2 guys, in my opinion, don't warrant the Patriots saying, oh, we're not going to take Tyler Warren if that's a legitimate option for him. I think that he creates mismatches. Obviously, Josh McDaniels has loved using tight ends in his offense. All tight ends, and especially the great ones, create mismatches. And you look at a lot of the great teams, they have a big-time tight end, and it's a big-time focal point in their offense. So I think that it's an interesting way to look at addressing the pass catcher situation and something that the Patriots might be interested in. He is stiff at times. He's not as great of a route runner as like a Colston Loveland, a Harold Fannin, and Elijah Arroyo, but he's way more polished in both the run and the pass, and he still is an elite pass catcher at the tight end position. Okay, yeah, he's a little bit stiffer and he doesn't run as crisp of routes at the tight end position. Well, he's also like 3 inches taller and 30 pounds heavier than most of those 3 guys I just mentioned. So you're taking a guy like him. He's way more polished in the pass or in the run game than those guys, and he still gives you a huge threat for a passing threat in the middle of the field, down the seam, vertically, stuff like that. So Tyler Warren for the Patriots. Then in the second round, a receiver that I'm really honing in on, that I'm starting to love, if he were to be there for the Patriots, it's Jaden Higgins from Iowa State. He's 6'4" and an 8, 214 pounds. He ran a 4.47 40-yard dash at that size. He had a 39-inch vert and a 10'8" broad. That was equal to a 9.92 on the raw athletic score. Really good athlete. He was the highest graded wide receiver in college at a 90.5 on PFF. He had 1,100 plus yards, 9 touchdowns, the second most catches for first downs, and then he also had the 5th highest grade versus man coverage. This dude has great concentration, really good catch radius, long arms, big X-type receiver, which is a thing that I think the Patriots need. He's got sure hands. He only had 7 drops in his 4 seasons in college. High IQ. He knows how to find the pockets and zone coverage and to be an option sitting in the windows or, continuing to run. Really good body control. He wins by boxing out receivers. He can play through contact if corners trying to jump the slant or whatever, and they're on his back or they're reaching over. He catches the ball away from his body. I really like that. And the thing that makes Jaden Higgins so good, in my opinion, is his footwork and his feet quickness when he's on releases or he's, getting in and out of breaks is not natural for a 6'4" guy. I think both him and Tedero McMillan, how they move at their size is what separates them and why I think that they'll be great X receivers in the NFL. You're not drafting this guy to be a burner down the field. They had another guy on Iowa State that did the down the field threat action, Jalen Knoll. So most of his work came within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage. 71 of his 92 receptions, to be exact, came from within 10 yards. But Josh McDaniels likes to run those quick type offense. He can stack receivers, with his 4.47 speed. He eats up ground, long strides, takes a little bit to get going. But once he does, he has the ability to get and win vertically. So really like Jaden Higgins. I think he does provide some position versatility. They did line him up in the slot for a good amount of snaps, slot fades with a bigger body, or they would just run RPO bang routes with him. So I think he does have a little bit of position versatility. You can move him around, but a guy that I'm really starting to love. There's some videos of his releases, his footwork and stuff that just, you would think that it's a 6'5'11" receiver running those. And then you find out he's 6'4" and an 8. And you're like, he should not be doing things like that. So adding a guy like Jaden Higgins on the outside for Drake Maye, pairing him with Tyler Warren would totally revamp this passing attack in one draft. And I think could be really advantageous for the Patriots. So now addressing the offensive line. This is the pick that the Patriots got from the Panthers in the trade above. Ariante Ursary, this dude's 6'6" on the dot, 331 pounds. He meets the NFL threshold. He had 31.25-inch arms, so he meets that threshold. His raw athletic score was a 9.89. He ran a 5.01 40-yard dash. He jumped almost 30 inches on the vertical, and then he had a 9'3" broad. He's a 3-year starter at left tackle for Minnesota, 2,200 plus snaps. He's only allowed 3 sacks in the last 2 years. The thing that I love about Ariante Ursary and why I even consider taking him at pick 38 instead of Jaden Higgins, just because I didn't want him to not be there, is this dude's an NFL ready frame. Like, his frame is ready to be in the NFL. He's big, he's strong, he's got the length. He gets great movement in the run game, whether it's digging out a 5 technique inside of him or he's using double teams to get up to the second level. He's really good there. His first step is really explosive. He finishes blocks. He's super nasty. He has that chip on his shoulder. Really good feet and athleticism for his size. He can mirror the defensive lineman, defensive end, and pass rush. He can recover on inside moves. He's not the best with his hands. He needs to be more consistent with his punch. In my opinion, bends at the waist, not at the knees. So he overextends at times, a little bit top heavy, just plays with a little bit of pad level. But again, as a 6'6", 330-pound guy, you maybe expect that a little bit more. But if he can perfect that, if Doug Marrone can help him figure that out, he could be a very quality starting left tackle in the NFL. So Really like Arion Taylor-Sri. Left side of the offensive line is something I still think they've got to address in free agency. So we'll see how they do it, whether it's with an interior offensive lineman, maybe a center. But they got to find someone. I think Arion Taylor-Sri, even if they were to sign a older veteran type guy to a 1-year prove it deal, if you have them, say Cam Robinson and Arion Taylor-Sri, you can develop him and hope that he's ready to take over in a year, halfway through 2025, maybe even start of 2026. So really like Arion Taylor-Sri there for the Patriots. Moving on to get an edge rusher for the New England Patriots, Jared Ivey out of Ole Miss, 6'6", 283 pounds. Ideal NFL size for the edge. Okay, he's not a little bit smaller or lighter like some of the defensive linemen we've talked about. He's had 16 sacks the last 2 years, 8 sacks both seasons, 23 and 2024. He had the 7th highest pass rush grade on PFF, the 15th highest run defense grade, so he's good in both aspects. He also had a 16.8 pass rush win percentage, which is really good. But when you compare it to like Abdul Carter, who was like 22 a year, okay, he's not that elite pass rusher like those guys. That's why he's in the 3rd round right here. But he's got long arms. He has 33 3/4 inch arms, uses his length very well. He's strong and physical at the point of contact. He can press guys off of him, use his hands to shed them, get to the ball carrier or the quarterback. He sets up his pass rush moves well. I think he's very smart. He knows what move he wants to get to, but he knows how to set up the pass rush move. He beats up tight ends with ease. If you're going to line a tight end up on him and want him to block Jared Ivey is going to punish them. He's going to be able to get off of them. It's a true mismatch, so you got to help on double teams. The one thing about him, he's had good production. 8 sacks in the SEC is good production. He lacks a little bit of explosion. His get-offs are below average. His timing with his hand strikes, he can miss sometimes with the offensive linemen once they strike. He takes a little bit of plays off sometimes, then he doesn't dip well at the top of his rush. He can't bend and turn that corner like the elite guys that you see in the NFL or coming out of college football into the NFL draft. So, but nonetheless, a really solid run stuffer and a really solid pass rush guy. Could see him fitting in really well with what the Patriots want to do on defense, being physical in both the run and the pass. Obviously, Harold Landry, they signed, is really good in both aspects like that. So maybe Jared Ivey, a younger buck, can get in here, provide something similar to that, and bring an element of toughness to this defense. So moving on to the 2nd pick in the 3rd round for the Patriots, in addressing the interior offensive line. Okay, the Patriots obviously cut David Andrews. The only centers they have on roster are Ben Brown, Cole Strange, and Jake Andrews. I don't know what their confidence level is in any of those guys, but Jared Wilson at center out of Georgia is a freak show. This guy had the 2nd best combine on relativeathleticscore.com amongst any center that's ever tested. He had a 9.98. He came in at 6'3" on the dot, 310 pounds. He ran a 4.9 flat 40-yard dash, which was in the 98th percentile, almost the 99th. He jumped 32 inches on the vertical jump, which was in the 93rd percentile, and he jumped 9'4" on the broad jump, which was in the 96th percentile. Little bit shorter in length. He's got 32 3/8 inch arms, so he's not quite there with arm length to play tackle, right? But that's why he's going to be a center in the NFL. But this guy has really good tight hands, powerful punch, which you want from an interior offensive lineman. He knows how to use his length. Obviously, it's not to his advantage, but he strikes, he punches well, he stuns defenders, whether it's interior defensive linemen or linebackers. He's one of the best pass set centers that I've seen in a while. Great recovery skills on his pass sets. He mirrors so easily. He's an elite athlete, like I said, for his RAS score. Really good. Plays with good leverage. Plays low to the ground with that 6'3" frame. He knows how to play low. He knows how to use his power to him. Couple knocks on him, which aren't even knocks, but he only played 1 season at Georgia. Like, he'd been there, but this was the first year he actually started for Georgia. But he's a true center. He has the center experience, which snapping experience is so valuable in the NFL. And he does need to get a little bit better strength-wise at the 310 pounds. I'd probably like to see him beef up maybe 10, 15 pounds just so he can hold his own against some of the interior defensive linemen in the NFL. And he can anchor a little bit more effectively. But other than that, like a super athletic center that played in the SEC, dominated for a year, would really like to see them add him to the room. And then that maybe, gives you some time to, figure out whether it is Ben Brown or whatever, or you just hope that Jared Wilson is the guy and, he's able to jump in there right away and start. So interesting option there. Staying on the offensive side, you guys can see offensive heavy draft right here just because of how heavy they went in free agency, which I still think they will address some needs in the draft on the defensive side of the ball, but the offensive side has way more holes, and we knew that going in because the offensive free agency class was not as good as the defensive free agency class. So a lot more offensive guys here. Have the Patriots taking Damian Martinez out of Miami. This guy transferred there. He was at Oregon State for a couple years, and then he went there. This is a bigger running back, big and thick. He's 5'11 and 5'8", 217 pounds. He only ran a 4.58. You're not drafting this guy to be a burner. Okay. This guy had 4.51 yards after contact per attempt. That's because he's a powerful runner. He's straight downhill. He runs through arm tackles. He runs through guys. He's not making a miss because of his shiftiness. Guys are just bouncing off of him because of how he runs. He's got a good build to be a goal line, short yardage back. He runs super hard. He always falls forward when he gets tackled, or when he's driving piles, pushing it, the piles fall forward. He's got actually pretty good quickness and elusiveness for his size. He can make guys miss, and he can get in and out of his cuts and stuff. He's just not going to be able to he's not going to be able to outrun dudes with that 4.58 40. He's not going to have the home run speed that some guys in this class will. Travion Henderson, Dylan Sampson, guys like that. He's not a good pass catcher, and he does not add much in the pass blocking game either. So you worry about him as a true 3-down back or on third downs, but you're taking this guy to spell Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson. You're taking him as a 4th-round guy, taking a load off of Ramondre. A bigger body that can make guys bounce off of him and can give you, a yard or two when you need it on 3rd and short, 4th and short, or in the red zone. So Damian Martinez right there. And then wrapping up in the 5th round, have the Patriots taking another tackle. This is Ajanai Cornelius. Hopefully I said that name right. I looked it up, and that's what it sounded like to me. Ajanai Cornelius, 6'5", 310 pounds. He had 33.5-inch arms. He's got a great build for an NFL offensive tackle. This is a guy who he looks the part. He looks like he's going to play tackle in the NFL. He's a 3-year starter for Oregon at right tackle. He's really good in the run game, moving defenders. He does play high a little bit. He lets people get into his chest with his arms. He doesn't use his length very well. And this is why the length thing is so important, but it's also like, you got to know how to use it. You can have 35-inch arms, but if you don't shoot your hands at the right time and guys continually get into your chest, what the heck does it matter? So he's got to learn that. He's got to learn how to use his length, timing on his punches. He lacks the foot speed consistently to mirror defensive ends. And then he has a bad penalty problem. He had 25 total accepted penalties in the last 2 years. 25 total penalties, 23 accepted penalties. Still, that is horrible. That's like, 11 and a half a year. That is not good on the penalty wise. Got to figure that out, which is why he's a 5th-round pick here. He's got the size. He's got the arm length. He's got some intangible tools. Maybe getting him with Doug Marrone would let him develop a little bit more. And you could see what he turns into because of that. So this is a 5-round mock draft again. Wanted to get, in my opinion, the 3rd best pass catcher in this class. I feel like tight end, I've talked about this before with other Patriots fans and, people, tight end does feel like a luxury pick, right? Like tight end is like, gosh, can we afford to take a tight end with the 8th overall pick if that's what they were to do based off of how many holes are on this team? I mean, it's not ideal, but when you have a guy as good as Tyler Warren, you can resort to taking it because he is going to bring so much on the offensive side of the ball, and we know how well Josh McDaniels likes to use him. He's not Brock Bowers type of prospect. He's not going to have a Brock Bowers type season, but I think he will be very effective. I think that he will come in and be an immediate impact right away. I see him as a Sam Laporta type guy that's going to do a lot of really good things and be a very viable option for the Patriots offense and for Drake Maye. And then obviously offensive heavy, Jaden Higgins, love him. Absolutely super high on him with his frame, his size, what he brings on the outside, and how he wins. And then addressing a couple offensive positions after that, one with a kind of a role specific running back, 3 offensive linemen, and then still getting a edge rusher for the Patriots. So let me know your guys' thoughts on this down below, what you like about this, if you would take Warren or not, who you would take there instead. Obviously, with the draft becoming closer and closer, I'm going to start doing more specific mock drafts, like what I would do, what I think the Patriots will do, things like that, so we can really hone in on what I think the plan should be and what I think I would do. things like that. So make sure you guys are like, subscribe, comment down below. Again, your thoughts. You can use code Patriots Drive at SeatGeek to get your first, purchase, whatever. If you're going to a Celtics game, a Bruins game, whatever games you're going to, wherever you live, use code Patriots Drive and get $20 off of your purchase. So appreciate all the support. And until next time, we will talk to you guys later.